I have seen the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves down the Negro streets at dawn looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for an ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo in the machinery of night, who poverty and tatters and hollow-eyed and high sat up smoking in the supernatural darkness of Coldwater Flats, floating across the tops of cities, contemplating jazz, who bared their brains to heaven under the L and saw Mohammedan angels staggering over tenement roofs illuminated, who passed through universities with radiant cool eyes, hallucinating Arkansas and Blake Light tragedy among the scholars of war, who were expelled from the academies for crazy and publishing obscene odes on the windows of the skull, who cowered in unshaven rooms in underwear, burning their money in wastebaskets and listening to the terror through the walls, who got busted in their pubic beards returning through Laredo with the belt of marijuana from New York, who ate fire in pain hotels, drank turpentine in Paradise Alley, death, or in purgatory their torsos night after night, with dreams, with drugs, with waking nightmares, with alcohol, with cock and endless balls, incomparable blind streets of shuddering cloud and lightning in the mind, illuminating and leaping out toward poles of Canada and Patterson, illuminating the motionless world of time in between peyote solidities of halls, backyard green tree cemetery dawns, wine drunkenness over the rooftops, storefront boroughs of tea-head joyride neon blinking traffic light, sun and moon vibrations in the roaring winter dusts of Brooklyn, ash can rantings and kind king light of mind, who chain themselves to subways of the endless ride from Battery to Holy Bronx and Benzedrine unto the noise of wheels and children, who reappeared on the West Coast, investigating the FBI in shorts and beards with big pacifist eyes, sexy in their dark skin, passing out incomprehensible leaflets, who burned cigarette holes in their arms to protest the narcotic tobacco haze of capitalism, distributed super-communist pamphlets in Union Square, weeping and undressing while the sirens of Los Alamos wailed them down, and wailed down the wall, and the Staten Island ferry wailed also, who broke down crying and wiped gymnasiums trembling naked before the machinery of other skeletons, who bit detectives in the neck and shrieked with joy in the back of police cars, who howled on their knees in the subway and were dragged off the roof, waving genitals and manuscripts, who let themselves be screwed by saintly motorcyclists and screamed with joy, who faded out in vast, sordid movies, shifted in dreams, woke upon a sudden Manhattan and picked themselves up out of basements hung over on a cruel Tokay and the horrors of 3rd Street iron dreams, and stumbled to unemployment offices, who walked all night with their shoes full of blood on the snowbank docks, waiting for a door in the East River to open to a room full of steam, heat, and opium, who composed great suicidal dramas in the apartment cliff banks of the Hudson under the wartime blur floodlight of the moon, and their heads shall be crowned with laurel and oblivion, who ate the lamb stew of the imagination or digested the crab meat from the muddy bottom of the rivers of Bowery, who wept at the romances of the street with their pushcarts full of bad music and onions, who scribbled all night, rocking and rolling, and reciting lofty incantations, which in the yellow morning were stanzas of gibberish, who coughed on the 6th floor of Harlem, under the crowned with flame under the tubercular sky surrounded by the orange crates of theology, who cowered in boxes breathing in the darkness under the bridge, and rose up to their lofts to build harpsichords, who planted themselves under meat trucks looking for an egg, who cooked rotten animals, lung, heart, feet, tail, borscht, and tortilla, dreaming of the pure vegetable kingdom, who threw their watches off the roof to cast their ballot for eternity outside of time, and alarm clocks fell on their heads the next decade, who cut their wrists 3 times successively, unsuccessfully, and were forced to quit and open antique shops where they thought they were growing old and cried, who fell on their knees in hopeless cathedrals, praying for each other's salvation and light and breath until the soul illuminated its hair for a second, who crashed through their minds in jail, waiting for an impossible prisoner with a golden head and the charm of reality in his heart, who sang sweet blues to Alcatraz, who retired to Mexico to cultivate a habit, or Rocky Mount to tender Buddha, or Tangiers to boys, to South Pacific to the Black Locomotive of Harvard, to Narcissus to Woodlawn, to Daisy Chain or Grave. Who accused the radio of hypnotism and demanded sanity trials, but were left with their insanity, their hands, and a hung jury. Who threw potato salad at CCNY lectures on Dadaism and subsequently presented themselves on the granite steps of the madhouse with shaved heads and Harlequin speech of suicide, demanding instantaneous lobotomy, who were instead given concrete void of insulin, metrazole, electricity, hydrotherapy, psychotherapy, occupational therapy, ping pong, and amnesia. Incureless protest over only ones, all resting briefly in catatonia. Returned years later, truly bald, except for a wig of blood and tears and fingers, to visible madman doom of the wards of the mad towns of the East. Carl, if you are not safe, then I am not safe, and now you're really in the total animal soup of time, and who therefore ran through the icy streets, obsessed with a sudden flash of the alchemy of the use of the ellipsis catalog, a variable measure in the vibrating plane, who dreamt and made incarnate gaps in time and space through images juxtaposed, and trapped the archangel of the soul between two images, and joined the elemental verbs, and set the noun and dash of consciousness together with combined sense of pater omnipotens aeterna deus, to recreate the syntax and measure of poor human prose, and stand before you, speechless yet intelligent and shaking with shame, rejected yet confessing out the soul to conform to the rhythm of thought in his naked and endless head, the madman bomb and angel beaten time, unknown, yet putting down here what might be left to say in time come after death, and who rose reincarnate in ghostly clothes of jazz, in the gold horn shadow of the band, and blew America's suffering mind with Eli Eli Lama Lama Sabachthani saxophone cry that shivered down the cities to the last radio, and with the absolute heart of the poem of life butchered out of their own bodies, good to eat for 1,000 years.